Okay, so let's get to the rendering portion here. I've got a little sample car that I've done. I want to add materials to it and then render it out. So I'm going to go to my render tools, and then I'm going to go to my materials here. Okay, and now of course the Windows version is a little different than the PC version. So the PC version, you'll have to open the materials in a separate panel, but with the Mac version, we've got all of our materials listed here that we're going to use, and we're going to modify them substantially. So first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we have our object exploded so that it's all separate parts. So that you can add materials to it. Now, if you want to do this before you explode it, you can add one material that would be the overall material, and then you can explode it and add the detail materials. But I'm just going to add all the materials one at a time here. So I'm going to start off with copper. Copper right here. And it's already a metallic color. That's why I'm choosing it. I'm going to change the color of it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. And I'm going to use my document materials here and just add it all around my object. These little panels down here. And I don't have to add any materials to the back or the sides if I don't want to, because I'm not going to see them. So if you want to be a little bit more thorough, you can go ahead and do that, but I'm not going to. So now I'm going to come down to plastics. And I'm going to use textured plastic, and I'm going to assign that to my tire. And I'm going to change the map on this. So let me duplicate the material first because I'm going to use plastics elsewhere, but I want to change the material on this one. Going to change the color. Oh, I guess it doesn't have a color, it just has a texture here. To 20, tab 20, tab. Okay. I'm going to put the copper inside there. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to put this textured plastic back behind it too. Just so it keeps it dark in there. Okay. And then I'm going to duplicate my copper. So now this material, I'm going to change the color of it to make it more blue. And I'm going to change the gloss finish, make it more blue, and change all of that. Make my gloss a little bit glossier. And then what I'm going to do next, I want to go to my textures and go ahead and add an environment. This is going to create a reflective quality. Let's see, so where is it? I'm looking for a sky, so no. Right. There. Okay, so that's got some sky and some clouds and some birds. So I'll go ahead and open that, and that's what is going to be reflected onto the material. I'm going to turn down the intensity on that a bit so it's not so powerful. Okay, and then I can change my tiling, maybe make it 2. So it's a little bit smaller. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to my textured plastic materials and add them to a few more locations here on my bumper. You can see you keep adding those materials to it. And now I want to do some light. So I'm going to go down to glass here. Find glass. Glass. And go ahead and add it to this panel here. And now I've got 2 panels on top of each other here. So I can hide one of these. My visibility, hide object, or type hide object. Select that outside surface that already has glass on it and go, I'll do that one too. Done. And then I'm going to add glass to this, add glass to this, add glass over here, and then unhide. So you can just type unhide or show objects, I mean. Okay, and now I want to edit that glass because I don't want to see so much of it, the interior of the car, which is what you're going to see if you have glass with nothing inside. So now I'm going to turn down the transparency, turn up the reflectivity, and change the color maybe a little bit so it's a little darker, kind of like tinted windows. And I'm going to add this copper material. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to do this textured plastic to here and here. And then I'm going to edit that to make it really fine. 100. And then the texture color as well. Oh, no, I don't need to do that. Okay, and then I can take the material, make it darker. Then I'm going to go ahead and use this copper on my wheels. And I can change the color of that too. If I wanted it to be more metallic, I could just change it to, maybe use the sliders too. Silver, and then change this to silver, and this to silver, and then I'll bump up the gloss finish on it quite a bit. Okay. Maybe I'll make this part have that reflective quality too. And then I'm going to do a duplicate copy of glass. And I'll call this light. And I can go down to, whoops. Light here. And then you go to advanced settings, you can change the emission color. And I can make it white instead of black, and that will make it glow. Okay, now I need some maybe some gravel. You can do cobblestone, granite, whatever kind of material you want here. You know what? Maybe I'll do glossy plastic, high gloss plastic, and change the color to darker tone. And I'll bump up the reflectivity of it a bit. Might make the car reflect onto the ground or something kind of cool like that. Apply my light material to my headlights. Okay. And I'm going to actually apply to this glass material my environment. So I'm going to go over here to Textures, Environment, choose my bird picture again. Okay, now I want to get it ready to render. So I'm going to zoom in on it, but then I'm going to go up here to View and go to Set Camera. And I'm going to go to Adjust Lens Length. And what happens is as I zoom out, it zooms out my lens length. So I can go out about there. And then when I zoom in, you can see it's more drastic of a perspective. You want to be careful with this. You don't want to do it so it looks super unrealistic. But you can create kind of an interesting dynamic visually. Decided a different texture here. Okay, so I got it kind of set up here. Now what I want to do is I go to my render properties and choose my custom size here. First set the DPI. I'm going to do 300. Now this shouldn't take as long as the last one did, but I want you to make sure that it doesn't take too long. If it's taking over an hour, you've got to change your settings. So that's where you can lower the DPI some. But you always want to make sure that you do your DPI first, then your size. Because otherwise, if you do the DPI first, it'll change the size to match the DPI. So now I did that, and then I'm going to bump my anti-aliasing up all the way to high. Again, this is another setting you can change if it's taking too long. My background, I'm going to set a gradient, because I want it to be a certain color in the sky. Actually, do this. You can do the little eyedropper. I can use that tone there. Okay, that worked. Okay, and then I can even change this to a little bit more yellow so that it has like a bit of a haze kind of quality to it. And you can also change it to make it more a different time of day. Yeah, so I'll go like that. Okay, so then, you know, it might be too blue, but whatever, we're having, we'll do a test on it and come back if it doesn't look the way we want. So now we'll go to our render properties one more time, make sure we've got 19 by 13, we got all the settings set up right, okay. And maybe change the ambient light to white light too. Bottom color, we're not going to use. Okay, close that, and render, or type render, and we'll see how it looks when it's done here. I'm going to pause it. Okay, so this is the final result, and it definitely needs some work. The rims are too bright, the reflective quality of this is just obscene, and even the reflection on the ground is a little nutty. I like the sky, I think that the headlights look good. I just need to go back and edit some of the materials to make it look better. So let me do that. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to select the high gloss plastic here, and I'm going to take down the reflectivity quite a bit. And then I'm going to select this, which is this copper here, and make sure that my texture of the environment, oh, it's not on there. Okay, that's not a problem then. So then I'm going to turn down my gloss finish and leave the reflectivity up. Then I'm going to select this copper here and turn my intensity of my environment way down on it. And I might even change my material color so that it's, maybe I'll make it like a red color. Just to kind of offset some of the look that I think is a little out there. Okay, so that should hopefully fix the issues I just had. Actually, let me go back to copper here. Turn my reflectivity down some. Turn my environment map down to 6%. Okay, and I'll render it again, see what happens. Okay, so this is the rendering process here, and it's not looking good, so I'm going to just cancel it. And sometimes when you cancel, you'll have to just wait until it gets back, and then you can close this. Okay, so I'm going to change this color. I'm going to actually make it darker. And then I'm going to change the glass here. Oops. Click out in the void, choose the glass, select objects using the material. Okay, that is that material. My material color, I'm going to make it darker and reduce the gloss finish, reduce the transparency a bit, reflectivity, change the intensity of this way down. Just try to make it more naturalistic. And then this copper color, select objects using the material. Okay, I'm going to make this material darker too. So select the material, darker, darker, darker. Okay, and then we'll render it again and see how it looks. Okay, I didn't quite like that one. I think that the color is dark. That's nice. But now what we want to do is maybe give it some light. So I'm going to go back to my other view here, and I'm going to do a distant light. So click on this, and I'm going to maybe have it shine right there. And go to one of my other views, go up, and I'll turn ortho off here. There we go. Okay, object properties, and check all this. Okay, looks good. Okay, and then I'll go back over here. I'm going to put this high gloss plastic on the tires here. Okay, I'm going to just do a render preview. Okay, it's looking a little bit better, but I think that I'm going to get rid of this black ground because it's a little too intense. So I'm going to see what else we got here. do this gravel. And then I'm going to change the gravel under here to 20, 20. And then I'm going to go to my bump and change it to 20 as well. Okay, now I'm going to render preview again. And it's starting to look better. You can see it takes a few times. You always want to make sure that you've got your shadows turned on and everything through your light panels, and that's why I've got a nice ground shadow here. I might actually darken this gravel color or change that. Brighten up this portion here some. Just keep tweaking it until it looks the way you want it to, but that should give you some ideas as to how to get a good render. So thank you very much.